Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Zainab Salbi. I am the co-founder of Daughters for Earth, and I am so grateful for all of you making the time to join us this morning. I want to share a few reflections. We may reshuffle the program out, but I want to, before anything, share a few reflections of what got us to even do this meeting and trying to do more meetings like that. One is allow me to start with Daughters for Earth mission, which is to find, support, celebrate, and mobilize women who are protecting and restoring Mother Earth. And honestly, it started with a theory saying or observations that not enough money is going to women leaderships who are creating new systems of change. And then the story is more dominant about women's victimhood rather than women being badass leaders in addressing our planetary health. And it was more like, no, we can't just be victims. Surely they are amazing women. And the first 3 years, we really just said, we're just going to find them. We're continuing to try to find them, and we're going to put money behind and trust and just trust, right? And then last year we did a random study. Some of you are here as part of the random study, of which I am extremely grateful for your trust in us as well. And really, and the time you are dedicating in for us. And in that study, we uncovered an exciting news that, wow, women are actually in this time of planetary crisis, planetary health crisis, or worry, women are leading islands of coherences. They are creating new systems. And, there is a Nobel laureate. He says, these in times of chaos, they are always islands of coherences. And these islands of coherences have the ability to lift the whole system up. And we believe truly, truly from the heart that you are leading these islands of coherences, that women are leading in these islands of coherences. And the reason, and this is not to romanticize women, God knows, I just came from Colombia and, there are some great groups, some not, but it is leadership that is holistic, that is anchored on the realities of everyday's people. It is not apologetically loving and even spiritual, if I may dare. It is bringing our emotional selves fully into the work in reverence not only to Mother Earth and to nature, but to each other. It is inspiring other women and girls, and it is creating truly a continuous transformation. So excited are we about this knowledge that we see ourselves merely as the weavers, who are trying to find more women leaderships, trying to support financially more women and encourage more donors to join in that process. And then weaving the story so as to uplift the voices into policymakers, into those who have a lot more money than we do, so we can unleash a lot more transformative change than what one group or 10 groups or 100 groups can do. So that's one thing that I wanted to start with acknowledging and addressing. The other thing that I want to share is that we decided here we are working and protecting and restoring nature, but what are the unlearnings we need to do and the new learnings we need to allow? Because this time needs liminal leaders. And we all are part of a system automatically. I mean, no matter where we are, I can take ownership of I grew up in a different culture, different country, different religion, but I'm still part of the system. My brain and my education is still part of the system that repeats the power dynamics and repeats the polarities between us, separation rather than a holistic approach. So we are actually saying, no, we're going to catch ourselves. Every time we do that, we're going to catch ourselves in these polarities and reject them and work into a holistic approach. So this gathering is an example of that, is an attempt to that. We're not going to master it. We're going to try and try and try and try again until we get it right, right? But we decided that we're not going to separate donors from grantees communities, those who are working on the field from those who have money and resources and interests. We're going to create a whole community. holistically, where we are in honesty in relationships with each other, because that's the only way we can grow, because we are, like the Buddha saying says, we are all in the path of awareness, seeking awareness, our family and friends, we are suffering and awakening together. And the only way we can do that is not to actually, separate, and manage differently and talk differently. No, we all need to learn what's happening and the realities and what needs to address together in a real way. So that's another thing that I wanted to share. And thus, this gathering is really not separating, is coming together in holistic approach. That's the second thing. The third thing is, so one of the observation is, yes, resources are needed, very much so. And I am like, God knows, all of us at Daughters for Earth really working hard to ensure more resources comes to women leaderships, because they are leading, you are leading transformative change, right? But also what we are observing and what we're hearing from you is that what we need to meet each other. We need to know each other. Community sometimes is people we are living next to, and sometimes it is people who we know that they share our values and our hearts and minds, but they are in a different continent or a different country. And I may not see them every day, but I know that they exist, and that is enough for me to keep me going. So that's a third thing. So that's, we're trying to learn from you with your guidance. What does it mean to nurture a community, and how can we do it virtually? And we're going to transition to also do it in person at one point this year. So baby steps, but we're trying. And I want to say that we're giving ourselves, honestly, Daughters for Earth, none of us have zero desire to last forever. We have 5 years goal. And in that 5 years, we want to get as many resources to you as possible, to those who are here and those who are not here, to get to women's leadership, to study with facts and figure and prove how amazing women's leadership are leading new transformation, but also informing how the world can go about addressing our new planetary health with this multifaceted approaches, and then actually hopefully impacting a lot more resources and a lot more attention to you and your work. And then we may not exist in 2031. Our goal is 2030, and 2030 is rapid, and I don't know, but we're not going to sit on cash and load of cash. We're going to really focus. This is the moment. This is the time. So you have our commitment for this, and really we are giving it our all, as you are as well. I don't know if our keynote speaker is here. Is she here? Someone, Casey, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Not yet.
Not yet. So
Not
I
yet.
suggest that
Okay.
we invite her in
Yes.
as soon as she arrives.
Yes. But here's what I'd like to do. Today's theme, so we're going to switch the program, no problem. We have amazing speakers, also wonderful. Today's theme is, how do we plant seeds in times in not only in times of darkness, but our keynote speaker, which she'll join or not join, hopefully will have other opportunities no matter what, is Andrea Ixchiu, who is a Hackeo culture, who is the co-founder of the Hackeo Cultural Center. She's a Mayan timekeeper, and from Guatemala, human rights defender, storyteller, and cultural producer. And the reason I'm bringing her up is because I was very depressed last year when I met her. Real depression. I'm not saying, oh, I was sad. I am from the Middle East. I coexist with extreme pain at what's happening in the Middle East. And I cannot hide it, because it's like, it feels to me, it's like it feels to me on the edge of a nuclear bomb for me, right? And to see people I love, not only my country, but the entire region, are just in pain and fear and anger, right? And then I was having a hard time addressing, but I'm personally okay. And how do you deal with these polarities? And I had beautiful conversation with Andrea in a gathering we were co-hosting at Cortes Island in Canada, with some women leaders. And she said, Zainab, in time of darkness, you plant the seeds. The seeds can only be planted in darkness. You cannot plant it in light. It needs that, and it emerges. And that that really changed my perspective on such moment in time for me, as particularly as a Middle Eastern Arab woman. Oh, sorry, it's part of my reality. So, but it changed my perspective. And I was like, well, how do I deal with that when I am doing okay personally? And she said, time has different aspects, different dynamics, different meanings. We're not all on the same time. We plant the seeds in our darkness, and then they emerge, and that sprout or that lotus flower then becomes the hope for someone else's light, and etc. etc. Time is not a linear matter. And it was such a profound conversation that it changed my relationship with myself and with the realities of the world we work in, or that I come from, and that the world we are all in right now also. So with that came uh, this conversation, today's conversation. It is spring for those of us who are facing spring. I know not everyone on the same time zone or seasons, but for those of us who are planting, it is spring. It's a time for planting, and it's also a time of fear, and it's time of hope. And how do we reconcile with all of it, and lead unapologetically so with love? Unapologetically so, with, as person who kept my spiritual path very private, say it, right? Because it's like, if we cannot lead with love to nature and reference to her and each other and to the future, then we are just repeating the old paradigms, right? So with this, I'm sorry, Andrea, there must be some maybe time differences or confusion on that, but we will find the other time if she doesn't join today. And with this, I want to hand it over to my colleague, Casey Rogers, who's been with me from the beginning. And I'm so grateful for her and all the to tell you, I love my colleagues at Daughters for Earth is an understatement. I feel such a blessing to be working with amazing women that I not only respect them, but truly, truly, truly love them. And with this, I'll hand it over for Casey to be in conversation with amazing superstar, badass women. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zainab. And I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. And I will say that Andrea has just joined us. And so I would actually suggest, I know that we're sort of bouncing the ball back and forth, but that we welcome her into the room. And Zainab, you gave a beautiful introduction and setting as to how this conversation really evolved. And so, please, Andrea, you're most welcome, and we really look forward to hearing the wisdom you came to share today.
Good morning, everyone. I am very happy for the invitation for this space and also for Sanif to be sharing and welcoming my words, my reflections. I am a Maya Quiche woman from Highlands, Totonicapal in Guatemala. I'm very happy to be able to join in this morning, especially today because in our Mayan calendar, when I am trying to read right now the numbers, nothing happens because out of um, coincidence. Uh, every morning I woke up, I count the days on our calendar, and today we are accompanied by the energy of the Oxlajucat, which is the energy of the network of the weaving. So may our net not become heavy for holding more what it needs to. Some things, if we do not let them go, just keep us tangled. And Oxlajuj speaks to the moment when something comes to full circle, when everything takes form. And today, as it rises with the net of the cat closing our 13 of E, which is the energy of our paths, it brings a question with it, like what are we doing with our networks? So after walking a path of 13 days in the past days, we were called to gather what we have lived, what we have decided, what we have do with it, whether we keep it as wisdom, as growth, as experiences that nourish our lives, or whether we use it to tangle things up and complicate everything. So our nets has the power to draw in what we need and to gather what fits our life, but it also can tangle us. So, and in the end, that's our choice. So with it energy of our days and our lives in each moment, we can decide whether we open it to medicine, to remain in its challenge. And the energy of this day and its power also comes from being aware of how we're using our weaving structures. So that's why I am very grateful that you decided this day. I'm not sure if you were aware of this energy, but also to come to share what it has meant for us, to indigenous peoples, especially in Guatemala, as Mayan communities, as Quiche communities, to weave in times of genocide and ecocide. Something that I was sharing with Sanib in Vancouver is that that the energy that has told us first is our Mother Earth as our ethical reference. She is the one that has told us of renewals, of beginnings, of no matter how much violence can be inflicted on her by the lightnings, by the storms, always lives came back. And something that is very important is that Canil teaches, and Canil is the energy of the seed, the energy of that teaches that something that maybe we have forgotten, that every life starts in darkness. The seed that falls on the land doesn't see the sun immediately. She doesn't know what it's going to be. She has to trust in the moist humidity, silence, in the long work under the soil to what she's going to become. So before blossoming, she dies. Before feeding, she gives herself to the soil. And that's the ethic of the land, not the ethic of market, not the one that is exiging from us immediate productivity. It's not the ethic of extractivism that takes things from the soil before time or doesn't allow what needs to keep resting over it and sell it to people that doesn't belong to it. So the ethic of the land is patient, is cyclical, is generous, is brutally honest. What you sow with love, it comes. What you sow also with violence, it comes with violence. So the light, the air, the land, the soil, the earth doesn't lie about what she has received. And Canil leads the energy of the four seeds, the four colors of the corn that bring us to life as humanity. It's the genetic memory that still holds each generation. It's the reminder that all of us has a Kachach Chumilal, a star, a mission, and that this mission will never be accomplished only under reflectors. It comes also in darkness, in the kitchens, in the community assemblies, also in our grieving process, in exile, in jail, in bodies that are still holding criminalization, in the girls that are still learning their mother tongues when nobody sees them. So the seeds goes to darkness because that's where strength comes from. That's where the emptiness allows creativity. That's why for us, the Maya people, the zero is the movement that it's the essence of everything. It's invisible work. So for us, darkness, it's not absence. It's a laboratory. It's the uterus. It's the workshop. What it seems death under the earth, it's doing the most important work of its life. So as as an indigenous women that has been raised over understanding and relating with the energies, that's what I have been learning from the land. That our attention energizes, our intention transforms, that we are keepers from our mother nature goods that she shared with us. We're not its owners. I have learned that seeding for the next generations to come, it's not a beautiful metaphor. It's concrete and daily responsibility. And also that abundance, it's not to accumulate, to hide, it's to sow and to share. And when a seed looks dead under the ground, it's learning how to be a tree. So I hope that the energy of Canil can hold us in this time of sowing, in these times of danger, and when sometimes we feel completely despair. So I wanted to thank you for allowing the blessings, the teachings, that has come from my lineage, from my heritage of my Ixchiu people, and the way we count time and we relate with the energy. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Andrea. I mean, you can see how this woman helped me so much, and I trust she has helped all of you also in her wisdom. Thank you so much, Andrea. I know you have touched a lot of people, and many people will have questions as well. What I would like to do is hand it over to Casey, be in conversations with the others, and then we open it up to everyone's questions. So Casey, you can moderate, and including questions for Andrea in that process to respect everyone's time as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. Andrea, many thanks. And I'd like to weave some of what you offered into the conversation that I'll be having with Winona LaDuke and Chochi. And so, Winona and Chochi, please join me here. And just for everyone who is with us today, we really have a treat to be joined by Winona LaDuke and Maria Jose Iturralde, who really goes by Chochi. These are two women who are quite remarkable in the efforts that they have led throughout their lives for the land, for people. And as you said, Andrea, that you know, that we each have a mission, right? And so I would like to open up by inviting both you, Winona, and Chochi to tell us about your mission, right? What is the work of your life? And of course, that could be hours long, but today, just a brief overview, and then we'll open it up for conversation. Winona, would you like to begin, please?
Of course. Thank you, and honored to be with all of you. And greetings, Ani Nindoe Maganaduk, to my sisters out there. And really, Andrea, thank you so much for what you said. Your teachings from your territory are very similar to my teachings from Anishinaabe territory, which is in the north. And I am also a farmer, and our understanding is that these are the times we come out of a winter where you reflect, you consider, you pray, and then these are the times when you plant the seeds with prayer so that new things may come. And to me as a farmer, I think of seeds as a promise, as ancestors coming and returning to us, and as a commitment and hope. And so I am always so excited about this time of year as I look at my seeds, and so many seeds, where should they go? And part of my work at Land Back, getting our land back, is it's a lot of work because then you are farming a lot of land. So, but we are from our land in Dunjabal Ma King. Our word land, A King, it means the land to which the people belong. And I think about that a lot because there's all the private property, federal property, my. And I belong to land. And I belong to my people. I belong to my seeds. And so my job is to take care of them, do my best. And in these times, I know that when the bombing started in the Ukraine first, I just kept planting rows of beans. I was like, oh, that makes me feel better because at least my people can eat. And then I started this year, I'm going to grow Ukrainian red wheat because I love that kind of wheat. It's very good. And I was like, well, I'm going to grow their seeds here to think about them. I'm in the north, so I got to kind of grow seeds from the north. But in this moment, we also have our prophecies as Anishinaabe people, and this is called the time of the seventh fire, when we have a choice between a scorched path and a green path. And you can see that clearly in the world today. And I don't think that's just an Anishinaabe teaching. I think that's this moment. It is the time of prophecies. And we are the people who are living in this time of prophecies. So to me, that is a profound thought, that we are the ones who the Creator chose to be here. And so that gives me the determination to do my best according to what my ancestors would tell me to do. So I think we all work on that. So in these times, we look out there at agriculture, and agriculture today, industrial agriculture, is about men. It's about male domination. It's about dominating the soil with seed drills and with all kind of things that end with "cide," like fungicide, herbicide, pesticide, and things that end in "cide" are about death. They are not about life. That's like suicide, homicide, genocide, so we didn't want to put those things on our plants. And that is, obviously agriculture today is a creation of industrial war technologies. And so our job is the rematriation of farming. Our job is the rematriation of agriculture so that it is what it is intended to be. Because historically, farming in our territory, gardening was really the domain of women. We cared for these things on an ongoing basis. And the agrobiodiversity that exists in the world today of, this agrobiodiversity that was brought by indigenous people, the 900 varieties of potatoes, the 10,000 varieties of corn, people who did that are women like me, because we're the women who selected the seeds for the gardens. And that agrobiodiversity and biodiversity is the essence of life, because we know that monocrops and a lack, give you things like the Irish potato famine and GMOs and crop failure. And so the renaissance and the return of our land and our seeds is essential to our healing and is essential to our survival. So in, our work, we have a match in our community. For 40 years, I've been growing our ancestral seeds, and now I grow like 5 corn varieties because I cannot help myself. Because why not grow blue corn, red corn, yellow corn, pink corn? Because we can, and because they exist, and they all have different reasons for being. And so now I'm growing this corn that came from northern Mexico, which is nitrogen fixing corn. It is a corn variety that puts nitrogen in the soil, which is like amazing that we could do that. We put the nitrogen back in the soil, which is like the antidote to all the fertilizer needs that they have in industrial agriculture. So we are testing it out, and it makes very good tortillas and cornmeal. That is what I know. So I'm working on the restoration of that, the restoration of our ancient varieties of squash, because when you bring those things back, your ancestors and it feeds not only your belly, but it feeds your spirit. That's what it does. It feeds your spirit. So my community, suffers from all those things that colonialism does to you. We are diabetic. We are not healthy, and we are smothered with fossil fuels. And so our work is in restoring and in rescaling agriculture. So we even do horse-drawn agriculture. We are restoring relationship through healing to our land and healing with our people, because horses heal more than tractors. And so our work is also in growing these, but also growing a next generation of farmers in our own village, because that is how life is you must raise and nurture the next generation. And in that, our work is also not just in food crops, but in hemp. I'm a fiber hemp farmer, and hemp is the answer to housing in our communities, sequesters carbon, highest rate of any field crop, and makes housing that you can grow a house in a year and save your forests and have no toxins, have fire retardant and mold resistant houses. And so our work is to grow and then also to build and transform the materials economy with our hemp. And our hemp work is, nobody else is growing hemp at this level in the United States of this kind and the work that we are doing. And so, I just want to say that plants present older relatives to us. They are our oldest relatives, and they give us life. And that opportunity to work with them in these times and plant and sow our seeds now gives us this future for the life. And this also, what I learned is that plants teach you. My father, 8th grade education, came to see me at Harvard, and he said, "Winona, I don't want to hear your philosophy if you can't grow corn." And so after all my advanced degrees, I am at my base and in the center, a corn farmer. And so I am proud to say that those plants teach us how to adapt. Because when the that it is dry or when it is windy, my corn survived and Monsanto's corn perished. And so let us grow those seeds of hope. Let us grow those seeds, seeds of prayers, and let us know and rematriate agriculture for our families and for our communities. So thank you again for the opportunity of being with all the really cool women today. Miigwech.
Winona, thank you for being here. I know that we'll hear a bit more from you, but allow me to, Chochi, please give some of your opening remarks, the work that you're doing, the mission that you're on.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm very, very honored to share the space with all of these amazing women. And I'm honored that you want to hear about the work that we do here in Ecuador. So I'm Ecuadorian. I live in Quito, but I work with indigenous communities in the Amazon rainforest, and especially with women in these communities who I've been lucky enough to learn from for the last 6 years. So since 2019, I've been witnessing how they live in relationship with the Amazon rainforest, which is, as you know, one of the most biodiverse forests in the world. But also witnessing the pressures from the outside in these communities, from the government telling them that they have to work the land, otherwise they would like lose their land. And that meant cutting the forest down, introducing some sort of monoculture crop so that economy of the country starts improving and their livelihoods start improving. But seeing how the lack of relationship with the forest brings just poverty and unhappy people, disconnected from the land, from their souls, from each other. But also through the work that we do, where we open spaces for healing and coming again to community and to restoring the land, regenerating, coming to reciprocity again. How quickly it is, how quickly it comes back, how nature just bounces back into being abundant. And so that's why we founded the Humans for Abundance program. That's the name, because we believe that we humans are not here to destroy. That's a story that we've been told. We humans are here to, or can create a lot of abundance if we work in relationship. So that's been my work. We have the Humans for Abundance program that does kind of ecological restoration, and then also the Children of the Living Forest School, which is offering or co-creating a different kind of education for the indigenous children who should and be the next forest protectors, the next generation of forest protectors. So what should that education look like? You know, what should they learn instead of the Western curriculum that is imposed on them? Like for people who live in the Amazon rainforest, what kinds of, you know, mindset, what should be in their hearts and their minds. So yeah, that's the work that we do, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Chochi. Well, Winona and Chochi, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on the broad idea of restoration, right? You know, you both touched on the restoration that's happening externally, actually physically with the land, whether it's through hemp or otherwise. But talk about your own awareness and understanding, what you've seen as the connection between the internal restoration work and the restoration work that's happening outside of the internal sphere. What's that interplay? What are you seeing in the work that you do between the internal and the external restoration?
Well, to start, I see that the joy that comes to people who have been hurt by working in the gardens, and the ladies and everybody really likes it when we grow flowers. And we give away a lot of flowers to the elderlies in our village. And, they're just the gift is and the cultivation and the joy that is associated with that. And then, I work, and all of us have been, beaten and damaged by this society. And so I work specifically, we have a women's education and healing farm to really focus on teaching women farming because we have a lot of fears, like, can I do it right? How do I do this? I'm too embarrassed to ask, and so we want to help overcome that so that women, can see the connection and, so I've seen it, very much personally. And then it turns out that if you eat good, you get healthy. So that's a very direct thing, that happens. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Toshi, please.
Yes, in my work, I found, or in my experience, I found that I guess removing the obstacles needs to come first. So restoration is easy when you start removing the obstacles that prevent. So because nature wants to be alive, nature wants to come back. Nature, once you plant the seed, it wants to grow. But we put so much obstacles, there's so many obstacles on top of things, and by the stories we're told, right? So to me, the restoration work has meant first to open up spaces for healing, right? So you can't just come and restore the land with a seed or with a plant. First, you have to remove the obstacle of resentment and fear and anger about everything has happened to us and or indigenous communities, especially. They've been at war for centuries, right? But just creating the spaces to talk about it, even if you can't change the past, or you just talk about it, express your feelings, and then say, yes, we've been wounded, we've been hurt, our land has been, diminished, but what do we do now? We have each other. So it kind of reminds me of what Andrea was saying, that once you're under the soil, once you're in darkness, and all those stories are removed, right? The only thing we have is each other, I guess. So coming together to talk about what needs to be done, and knowing that we have each other, then you start removing the fear and the anger, and you heal spiritually or emotionally. And then, of course, removing, the physical obstacles, which means, toxins that we apply to the soil, or techniques like monoculture that destroy the system, that's not reciprocal. And so to me, it's been more of removing all the obstacles and working with nature and letting nature do its thing.
Yes, absolutely. Andrea, thank you for joining us. Do you want to offer your thoughts in terms of the sort of internal restoration going alongside the
Yes.
restoration of the land?
Yes. Something that when I was listening to the sisters was also a reminder, like planting when people are being killed and the land is being destroyed might seem like an absurd act. So why plant anything if armies, if militia, if land grabbers, if extractive companies can come and burn it all down, right? Like why entrust the seed to the darkness if the darkness today is also the mass grave, the poison river, the burning forest, the land fence off by a mine? And the teaching for me of Canil persists. Our people have been planting for more than 5 centuries under precisely these conditions: invasion, dictatorship, genocide, mega projects. And none of these forms of violence is new to corn or to those of us who care for it. So every kernel we plant today is a direct descendant of kernels that survived massacres. Every cornfield is for us a genealogical victory. Like the genetic memory of Canil speaks of not romanticism. It's like material proof that life always finds ways to go on time and time again under conditions designed to end it. And that's something that has become why an ethical reference and part of the reflection that moves my life and my energy. I come from a country that still suffers all the effects of the genocidal behavior of Guatemala army during more than 40 years of genocidal war recently, but 500 years of genocide. So planting in times of genocide is not naivety. It's an ancestral strategy. Genocide wants us to focus all our attention on fear, on broken bodies, on the urgency of individual survival. Ecocide wants us to accept that the earth is already dead and that the only possible future is one of concrete, lithium extracted from sacred wetlands, of dams that swallow entire rivers. So both logics require that we stop planting, that require that we forgot how to do it. And Canil says the opposite, like attention energizes and intention transforms, as I share. Where we place our attention, there it grows. And if we only look at destruction, we will feed it. And if we insist on planting food, language, ceremony, community, organization, children who know who they are, we are redirecting this world's energy. So sowing in times of ecocide also means what it's names what it's been killed. Like Canil brings the problems to light. It does not let the wound remain hidden and disguised. The seed descends into the darkness to grow. Bodies descend into the darkness because someone put them there. They are two distinct darkness, and our obligation is to know how to distinguish them, like honoring the fallen, the disappear, the prisoners, the devastated territories is part of the work of sowing. There is no cornfield without mourning. There is no future without memory. So sowing for me means above all refusing the logic of extraction. Extractivism uproots, empties, leave us behind. And sowing, it's the opposite. So deposits, trust, waits, gives back. So both are different ethics. And when we place a seed in our hearts in the earth, we're telling the extractive model that there is other way to inhabit the world. So Canil is the multiplied energy of the seed. It's the sowing that becomes 11 times stronger because it does not do it alone. It's done collectively in networks, in the cornfield. We sow with those who are no longer here, with those who will come, with the plants themselves, with the Nahuales, with our sisters people. And that multiplication is what genocide could never fully erase. And that's why we continue. That's why we sow, not because we have a guarantee of a harvest. It's because we have to give up sowing, because giving up sowing will be to complete the work that genocide wants to do. And that's a learning that I took from my ancestors, my community. And that's why sowing seeds for me, it's part of my daily work. Not only placing corn on the field, but also putting seeds of hope, trust, community every day in my life. That's what I have learned from it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think that everyone will agree that this is a profound conversation, a deep conversation, one that our time today is not sufficient enough to go as deep as we would want. But we all have the opportunity to take these seeds from this conversation with us out into the rest of this day, the week, and on. But I want to sort of ask a final question to the three of you, which is, what support do you need to continue the work that you're doing, to continue forth the leadership that you're bringing, or what message do you want us to take forth on your behalf? I'd like you each to, offer that to this group so that we can really be taking that to heart, doing this work together with you.
I have to say that the easiest thing to say is that we need more resources to support our work. And that is the truth. And I'm sure every other woman will say the same thing. We are on a shoestring budget. Last year, we tightened up our belts. I said I felt like an ant. I had such a tight waist. But, in those times, you have your seeds and you have your hands. And so you bring that forth, and the future will need that kind of love and nurturing because we're like doulas. We're like doulas of the next world that is being born. And I can see her coming. I can see her coming.
Beautiful. We're like doulas of the new world coming. Thank you, Winona. Andrea, Chochi, offer your thoughts.
Yeah, I was second what Winona said, right? The resources, but to also acknowledge community and community like this, how we can do a lot by supporting each other and passing the voice. I said, like telling everyone we know about these kinds of things that are happening in these kinds of circles. And these projects that might be really, really small for a fund or for a grant. But it's really important because when we come together and we put them together, that's what's really changing little by little. I don't think one community, one project is going to change the world. It's all these mini projects working together. So I don't know, spreading the word basically, and offering your support, and also knowing that reciprocity with the land doesn't have to come directly by you planting. You might be in a city, you might be, be very busy with a family, and you don't have time to plant like Winona, right? But you might find ways to be reciprocal with the land that ultimately ends also in your food and your table. So find ways to be reciprocal with that through all these technologies that we have right now, by donating, by connecting with these projects more closely. So
Yes. Sometimes it's a very hard question to ask out loud. Like Indigenous women, we have been raised to hold everything together, sometimes without asking for anything, and to let others eat first, to have infinite strength. And that's why I think the teaching also that no seed sprouts on its own, it's important. It needs prepared soil, water, shade, warmth, hands to take care of it. So sometimes it's important, like learning how to ask for support and see it not as weakness and understand how life works. And something I want to say, like maybe before saying what I need, I will say what we don't need. I don't need. I don't need the rescue, charity, anyone coming and giving a voice to me. We have voice. What's missing? It's stop interrupting those voices. We don't need funding conditioned on extractive metrics that turn our ceremony into KPI. Performative solidarity that gets posted on social media and disappear when it's time to take real risks. Invitations to panels where I'm just not expected to represent an entire continent. But what I need as an gig, it's time. The time of our calendar is not the time of quarterly projects. Ceremony requires days, not hours. And reading the energy requires silence. And sometimes spaces for retreat, fasting, sacred fire, without having to justify them with any narrative of impact. I need the guidance of grandmothers and grandfathers who know more than I do for my spiritual training to be taken seriously. And as Winona says, as any doctorate, I need to be able to descend into the darkness when it's my turn to grief, exhaustion, rage, political depression without that being interpreted as a professional failure. That also needs to be underground, and that's a lesson. And something that we have learned working with narratives, with technologies, is that sometimes flexible ways of support our work, multi-year, based on trust, can help and lead into transformation. Because narrative transformation isn't measured in 12-month grant cycle. We sow for generations. And we need these allied spaces to do our own work on decolonizing work before demanding that we explain for them what the Ixchiu worldview matters. And we need legal and digital protection for teams working in context of increasing criminalization. We need decent, differentiated wages for our comrades, like not the logic of the precarious activism that burn out young bodies in the name of cause. We need spaces for emotional and community care that recognize that political trauma is real, it's cumulative, and it's ongoing, and also freedom. Freedom for a lot of the people that work in our territory that are still in jail. So I think the defense of those, it's important to our cultural work. It's at its backbone. And I think as a human being, the needs of rest, family, my cat, my drums, the people whom I came to be myself without having to translate myself, the blood, the love, and the blood of my relatives, the air of my forest that I haven't breathed since 2021. Because exile has cost that doesn't appear in any budget, and it paid for my body. So I think that the teaching of sowing collectively, it's very important. Abundance, it's cultivated and share and return. And asking for support, it's part of that ethic that I have been learning and recognizing that none of us sustain it alone, and that the networks we weave today are also tomorrow's harvest. So that's for me very important to share about what can be needed in this work that we're doing.
Which Casey is frozen.
You can see how this, like, I'm just tearing up. It's only 10 o'clock my time, but thank you so much. Thank you.
May,
It's truth.
uh,
Truth
may
has been
I say
spoken
something?
here. Yeah, who is it?
May I say something?
Yes.
Okay, this is Mariam Bibi from Pakistan,
Oh,
24, and I really loved each and every word which was said by all presenters, and it's very interesting that I could relate to most of it. And and I think what in the beginning, each and everyone said, it's like it's not looking at looking at women as a whole and holistic approach, and that is what we are trying to do, uh, to provide access, to create spaces, to create opportunities in a very, very difficult situation. Security, because fear and security is driving everything. And in such situation, both man-made and also a natural disaster has very bad impact on women. So we have come up with a kind of
Thank you.
a strategy.
I would like to
Like,
just jump in. I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts. We do have one final piece of our time together
okay,
today,
okay. Oh,
and
sorry. Thank you.
no problem.
But I
My
but
internet
I was
just, uh,
I loved so much. I couldn't
thank
wait. Okay,
you.
thank you.
Andrea, Chochi, Winona, deep gratitude for your wisdom, for your leadership. I'd like to invite our final speaker who is going to ground us in some very practical information. We've been in the heart and in the philosophy for the last nearly hour, and we want to leave with some know-how that is very practical. And I'm inviting Victoria Tash, who's an herbalist and also a member of the Golden Rule Foundation. She's been part of the Daughters community for several years now, to leave us with some practical knowledge around herbs and the benefits for women. Victoria?
Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria Tash, and I live in Denver, Colorado. I am a newly certified herbalist. So I'm so excited to share with you all today. Every single thing that we have been talking about absolutely relates to herbalism and everything that I have learned so far on my learning journey. I also have unbelievable amounts to still learn. So I love that we talked so much about seeds and about planting and about agriculture, because food is obviously the cornerstone of our existence, but one of the other things is also our medicine and our plants. Our plants is our medicine. So I wanted to talk to you all today, and I've chosen one herb in particular that I think does a really, really good job at summing up our discussion today. It also is one of the most used herbs in the Western herbalist tradition, and it is nettle. So first thing I wanted to say as an herbalist and something that I have learned is that the earth wants a relationship with us all. And I think that that is something that is so needs to be celebrated. We don't have to look far for our medicine. This is not something that we need to find in an exotic place halfway around the world. Our medicine is growing in our backyards already. It's growing in the cracks of sidewalks. It's growing behind our house in forgotten corners. And that's really why I wanted to talk about nettle, because this is a plant that it might have not a great reputation because of its sting. A lot of people, if you've been stung by nettle, it is an uncomfortable experience, but it is also one of our absolutely most potent medicines. So, nettle has been used for thousands of years. It's gone back since before the Bronze Age and long before people have been using this plant. We've been using it for food, we've been using it for medicine, we've been using it even for textiles. Um, and I love that this plant is so humble. It doesn't ask a lot. It's not some beautiful, showy plant. It grows in canals, along roadways, and back forgotten corners of yards. And it is extremely resilient. If you've ever planted nettle or you've ever seen a nettle grove, you say, that is, sorry, I was getting distracted with the people so excited about nettle. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Um, yeah, and the other thing that's so cool about this plant is that it grows and it's one of the first plants to come into disturbed areas where a lot of other plants maybe have died back. Nettle comes in, it restores the soil, it brings nutrients back to the soil, and it also explains like what it can do for us. And so, nettle is one of our most nutritious plants that we have. It is actually the plant with the highest amount of protein that we know of, which is very cool. It's extremely high in vitamins and minerals. And it's also one of our most accessible medicinal plants. It grows on every continent. It is extremely easy to grow. It is hardy. It is resilient. It grows in wet. It grows in shade. It's really potent. It's everywhere. One of the things I really wanted to kind of highlight with it is that it is a tonic herb. So it's for total body restoration, full health. It is extremely holistic. It does not just target one system of your body, it targets all of the systems of your body. So this is something that we drink, especially as tea every single day. It's something you can throw into food. Anywhere you would use any leafy green, any spinach or kale, you can use nettle. It What I really love is that it's the kind of plant that reminds us that healing isn't about the dramatic intervention. Sometimes it's about turning back, it's about restoring yourself, it's about strengthening yourself, it's about getting the nutrients that you need. And that's why I think that this is such a great medicine. It kind of really relates back to our theme of in the times of darkness, we plant. And I just think it's so cool because even in the neglected places, we know that this nourishment is growing. And I think that there's so much hope in that. A lot of the work that all of you especially are doing, it might feel small. Your communities might have feel forgotten. It might feel like you're not making a big impact. And that is kind of what I think is so cool about nettle is that it grows at the edges of the society. It grows in the areas that people have forgotten. Um, and it grows in like the overlooked and the damaged places. But I think that that is a reminder for us to not ignore those places. I think that they're so key. So one of my invitations for you as an herbalist is try out nettle. Bring her into some ritual. You can buy this at any grocery store for the most part, an apothecary. Nettle is safe. It will not sting you once dried or cooked, which is good to know. Um, and grow it. Buy some seeds, get some seeds from your neighbors, grow it in your backyard. It's something that I'm doing, and it's one of my favorite ways to connect with the planet. Um, and then, yeah, like one of the other things as an herbalist is just this week, I invite you to maybe look at a plant that you've overlooked in the past, that you've just walked by and been like, maybe this is a weed, maybe it's something I'm not interested in. Learn something about it. Learn its name, learn what it does for the soil, or maybe for the pollinators, or even possibly as medicine. We have a lot of it all around us. And I just really think that these small acts of attention are how we repair our relationship with the land and with the plants. So, yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you all for
Victoria,
letting
thank
me
you
share.
so very much. We'll have nettle in mind this week in many different ways, and I like the suggestion of finding a plant that we haven't taken seriously in our travels and really learning more about it. Thank you all for staying with us a few minutes over the hour. It's been
a beautiful gathering. We are going to be hosting these more often because we know that community and solidarity and learning together is essential. So I hope that you will join us again, invite others, and a big, big thank you and deep love to those of us who joined us sharing their wisdom, especially Winona, Andrea, Chochi, and Victoria. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Casey, as well. Thank you, everyone. To be continued, and may your messages be heard and carried in all our hearts. Thank you.